Hi Nick, how are you today?
Well, it's a bit sweaty, as you can see.
Yeah, no, definitely good. So how's the session today?
Today was actually quite insightful because I was on my own. John couldn't make it today, so I got much more intense one-to-one training. I feel like I've perfected got more of an understanding of the kicks that I was struggling with, which is the sweet kicks.
So you've worked on your warm-up today as you normally start off with,
yeah.
And what was the second thing you did after?
Second thing was the first 5 kicks, which we touched on last week, which is the sweep, reverse sweep, axe kick, front leg kick,
standing front kick,
standing front kick, and front kick.
Good. You remember that? That's really good. And we're working with John to memorize those kicks as well. And how do you find the first question I'd like to ask you today? I know you look quite sweaty. It means you've been training really hard, and it was good to see you training on every single thing properly. If I was to ask you this memorization thing we do in terms of learning, because we have to do in standard, we have to do 20 kicks in around 30 seconds with their names taken. So how do you think the concept of memorization, when we split it into half, the first phase which says that you memorize it in your head, and the second thing is by action, so you do it, right? So how do you find this method of learning? Is it effective? Is it useful? Let me give you an example of that. For example, when you're taking the names of 10 kicks in 10 seconds in your head and you keep repeating, say like, front kick, side kick, rounders, double rounders, etc. like that. Do you think that helps you, and how does that help you in your normal fighting routine?
Definitely does help me, the memorization of the actual words. I remember when we were doing the Taolui, I found it incredibly frustrating that I couldn't go on YouTube or write it down. I had to memorize it each time, and I felt like it would sit down in my memory every single time I left the session. I'd think, oh no, and I'd be clawing it back later in the week. But I've come to realise also that once you got the Taolui in and the Taikuza after that, I got much more of my ability to memorise the routines became more pronounced.
More pronounced.
So yeah, I feel like maybe that's part of the practice, is to excel that memorization ability.
Yeah, so that's the reason why when people join our sessions, I say to them clearly that in our academy, we don't only work on the body, we work on the mind. So you understand the Shaolin Kung Fu's teaching of how memorization helps you in your daily life. And an example of that will be, that's really good to find out that it's effectively working on what you really want to achieve. The point I'll make is that when you go into a real fight, then many times when people know 20 kicks or 5 kicks, or let's say 10 kicks in karate, taekwondo, they might, or any art in kung fu, they might not be able to use all of them. The reason why, the first thing that stops them to use that effectively is it doesn't come to the head. When it doesn't get to the head, then how can you actually do it? So your mind translates into your actions. So your mind has to be sharper than the sword. And that's what we believe in. And I think you're working on that quite well. I always question my students on these so that we can make our methods and our features and functions of what we do more effective. So is there anything else you'd like to add in terms of memorization of the kicks?
Last week we were talking about saying the kick before you do it. That seems like a whole other kettle of fish for me to be able to do that at the moment.
So yeah, saying the kick before you do it. So
yeah.
If you do, and your challenge or the task will be to do 20 kicks in 30 seconds with the names taken, as we said. So it definitely is something to work towards, and you've done a good job. You're halfway through, and the only thing I would say is don't let yourself down. Keep the commitment up, and you'll achieve it. Secondly, moving on to the second side of the question, how do you think, in terms of the level of hardship in doing it, what do you think the level of hardship, or how hard it is to memorize and do them in 30 seconds?
I know it is incredibly hard, but I like the challenge, basically.
You like the challenge. And at the moment you can do 6 or 10? How many?
6.
6. And how long does it take you to do them?
So longer than 10 seconds.
How? Just tell me the number, time.
Probably closer to 20 or so. 20
seconds. So it's taking you 20 seconds to do 6 kicks right now. For any normal person, it would probably take them 30 seconds to do 6. So you're doing a really good job. The only thing we want to see, we need to see them being done in 6 seconds, and that's not impossible. You've seen that being possible in front of your eyes, with your very own eyes. So how would that feel? With the last question, bringing me to the last one, how would it make you feel when you can achieve the target of doing like 20 kicks in 30 seconds with a name tick? Sounds amazing,
yeah,
doesn't it?
It's bona fide confidence that I'm definitely improving, not just in Kung Fu, but my general discipline, because I thought the Taolui looked really difficult at one point, and then got to a point where it just came on my body much more easier. So
it became part of your reflex.
To see the goal and then to reach that a month later or 2 months later or weeks, it's quite exciting to see that progress. So.
And you've only been here for how long? 3-4 months?
A bit longer.
Longer? 5?
Around 6.
5, 6 months. But that's incredibly good. You know, you've managed to get onto, you managed to learn 2 Taolus, you managed to do 27 kicks and exercises. And what other things do you think you've learned?
For me, honestly, what Kung Fu has sort of pulled me away from is a bit, like, I sort of knew it before I signed up that I needed a bit more discipline in my life.
Right.
And it's pushed out other things, like maybe a bit too much drinking or partying.
Oh, that's really good.
And hasn't gone all the way, but I can feel already that it's giving me a reason to exercise and focus.
Oh, that's really good.
So
That's right. We'll definitely touch on that side of it. It's more personal, I would say. But it really sounds good when you are having an impact of your training in your daily life. Now, that's what we're going to see from everybody who trains here. But Nick, for today, I will be taking more of the feedback sessions, and this is what we try to record it for our YouTube channel to make sure people share, and all the students share what they feel like in their sessions, and it will be something we will be doing on a regular basis. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll speak to you soon.
For sure.
For sure.